In this video, we will look at the 6 fundamental functions that the air conditioning technician's multimeter must have. First, let's mention that there are 2 main types of digital multimeters. Manual range multimeter. With this type, in addition to selecting the required function, we must select the correct range to obtain an accurate measurement. This multimeter is more economical compared to the automatic one. Automatic range multimeter. With this, we only need to select the function and the multimeter will automatically give us the correct response. Let's look at the 6 fundamental functions your multimeter should have. 1. AC voltage measurement. This function is used to check if the equipment is receiving the correct voltage supply. Locate the AC voltage supply from the external grid, which is commonly 120 volts or 220 volts. Acceptable voltage variations in the power grid are typically in the range of plus or minus 5% of the nominal value. For example, for a 120 volt grid, a voltage of 114 volts to 126 volts is considered acceptable. 2. Amperage measurement. To measure amperage, the digital multimeter must have a clamp meter function. Select the AC amperage option, place a single power cable inside the clamp ring, and measure the consumption. The measured value should be equal to or less than the equipment's nominal consumption RLA. 3. Resistance measurement. This function should be used in the kilo-ohm scale to measure the resistance of temperature sensors. Turn off the equipment and, if possible, disconnect it from power. With the sensor disconnected and on the kilo-ohm scale, measure the sensor's resistance. The value should never be 0 or infinite. The value measured by the multimeter should decrease when you rub the sensor with your hand. If you have the manufacturer's manual, compare the measured value with the value in the table. Another important application of the resistance function is measuring the resistance of the motor coil, whether compressors or fans. In manual range multimeters, select a lower scale value. The resistance measurement between the coil pins should never read infinite. The measurements between the pins of inverter motors should be practically equal. 4. Continuity function. This function allows you to check if a wire is not broken, and if the signal or current can pass through without problems. The equipment must be disconnected from the power supply to perform continuity measurements. 5. Capacitance function. This function is essential for measuring the condition of the capacitors on the electronic board, the indoor unit's turbine motor, the outdoor unit, or the compressor. To measure capacitance, set the multimeter to the appropriate scale. The multimeter should include the most frequently used capacitance ranges for capacitors in refrigeration and air conditioning equipment. Remember that the capacitor stores energy, so you must discharge the capacitor with a resistor before measuring capacitance. Place the multimeter probes on the capacitor pins and compare the measured value with the capacitor's original value. 6. Temperature measurement. It is very useful to have the ability to measure temperature using the multimeter. The equipment comes with a special sensor that should be placed at the point to be measured.